John 13. Before the feast of the Passover, Jesus knew that his hour had come to depart from this world and return to the Father. Having loved his own who were in the world, he loved them to the very end. During supper, the devil had already put it into the heart of Judas Iscariot, Simon's son, to betray him. Jesus, knowing that the Father had given all things into his hands, and that he had come from God and was returning to God, rose from supper, laid aside his outer garments, took a towel, and wrapped it around his waist. Then he poured water into a basin, and began to wash the disciples' feet, and to dry them with a towel wrapped around him. He came to Simon Peter, who said to him, "Lord, do you wash my feet?" Jesus answered, "What I am doing you do not understand now, but you will understand later." Peter said to him, "You shall never wash my feet." Jesus replied, "If I do not wash you, you have no part with me." Simon Peter said to him, "Lord, not my feet only, but also my hands and my head." Jesus replied, "The one who has bathed does not need to wash, except for his feet, but is completely clean. And you are clean, though not all of you." For he knew who was going to betray him, and that is why he said, "Not all of you are clean." After he had washed their feet, put on his garments, and returned to his place, he said to them, "Do you understand what I have done for you? You call me Teacher and Lord, and rightly so, for that is what I am. Now that I, your Lord and Teacher, have washed your feet, you also should wash one another's feet. I have set you an example that you should do as I have done for you. Truly, truly, I tell you, no servant is greater than his master, nor is a messenger greater than the one who sent him. If you know these things, you will be blessed if you do them. I am not speaking of all of you. I know whom I have chosen. But this is to fulfill the Scripture. He who shares my bread has lifted up his heel against me. I am telling you now before it happens, so that when it does happen, you will believe that I am he. Truly, truly, I tell you, whoever receives anyone I send receives me, and whoever receives me receives the one who sent me." After saying these things, Jesus was troubled in spirit and testified, "Truly, truly, I tell you, one of you will betray me." The disciples looked at one another, uncertain of whom he spoke. One of his disciples, whom Jesus loved, was reclining at the table next to Jesus. So Simon Peter motioned to him to ask Jesus who he was talking about. Leaning back against Jesus, he asked him, "Lord, who is it?" Jesus answered, "It is the one to whom I will give this piece of bread when I have dipped it." Then he dipped the piece of bread and gave it to Judas, the son of Simon Iscariot. As soon as Judas took the bread, Satan entered into him. So Jesus told him, "What you are about to do quickly." But no one at the table understood why Jesus said this to him. Since Judas had charge of the money, some thought Jesus was telling him to buy what was needed for the feast, or to give something to the poor. So Judas took the piece of bread and went out immediately. And it was night. When he had gone out, Jesus said, "Now the Son of Man is glorified, and God is glorified in him. If God is glorified in him, God will also glorify him in himself, and will glorify him at once. Little children, I am with you only a little longer. You will seek me, and as I said to the Jews, so now I say to you, where I am going, you cannot come. A new commandment I give to you, love one another. Just as I have loved you, you also are to love one another. By this everyone will know that you are my disciples, if you love one another." Simon Peter asked him, "Lord, where are you going?" Jesus answered, "Where I am going, you cannot follow now, but you will follow later." Peter asked, "Lord, why can't I follow you now? I will lay down my life for you." Jesus answered, "Will you really lay down your life for me? Truly, truly, I tell you, before the rooster crows, you will deny me 3 times.